The blue sky over Manchester may soon acquire new shades. After a season considered below expectations, without lifting any trophies, something unusual since Pep Guardiola took charge, Manchester City is embarking on a deep overhaul. The maneuvers behind the scenes already indicate a significant change of direction for the club, which is now drawing up ambitious plans for the 2025-26 campaign. One of the first steps in this transformation involves the Dutch midfielder Tijjani Reinders. The player, currently at Milan, emerges as the key piece to renew the heart of the City midfield. According to reliable information from the European press, the English club's management have already reached an agreement with the player regarding the personal terms of the contract. Now, all that remains is to formalize the proposal to Milan and convince the Italians to part with one of their most valuable assets. Reinders has not only accepted the possibility of playing under Guardiola's leadership, but is also excited about what could be the fulfillment of a dream. He sees the Premier League as the ideal stage to test his limits and evolve as a player, especially at a club known for demanding technical and tactical excellence. City intend to offer around $65 million, but it is believed that bonuses could bring the final amount closer to $50 million, a figure considered fair for a talent of his magnitude. Within the club, Reinders' name did not come up by chance. He is seen as the perfect complement to Rodri, one of the team's pillars, especially if Kevin De Bruyne's departure actually materializes. With the Belgian approaching a new destination, rumors suggest his time at City may be nearing its final chapters. The team needs a new creative mind in the central midfield, and it doesn't stop there. The overhaul, led by Hugo Viana, who recently took over the club's football director role, goes beyond Reinders. Another name that has begun to circulate strongly in the corridors of the Etihad Stadium is Ryan Cherki. The young prospect who broke through at Lyon is about to say goodbye to the French club after a decade, and Manchester City are paying close attention. The negotiation with Cherki gained momentum not only because of his skill on the pitch, but also due to his cost-effectiveness. With only 1 year left on his contract, Lyon is willing to negotiate the player for $19 million, a sum considered a true bargain by current European football standards. For context, Florian Wirtz, City's initial dream signing to replace De Bruyne, would have cost up to $250 million, including transfer fees, wages, and bonuses. Instead of insisting on a financially heavy signing, the club chose to take a smarter path, investing in underrated talents with great potential for growth. Cherki, at 21, already stands out as one of League One's most creative players. His statistics are impressive, on average 2.5 key passes per game, even surpassing the numbers of Wirtz, considered by many one of Europe's future stars. Internal analysis at City suggests Cherki could fit perfectly with Guardiola's philosophy. His style involves short dribbles, sharp vision, and good decision-making in the final third of the pitch. And there is an added bonus. He is versatile enough to play both centrally and on the wings, something that pleases the Catalan coach, who is known for liking multifunctional players. But the restructuring of the City squad does not end in midfield. Another area urgently calling for reinforcements is left back. The absence of a specialist in the position has been a chronic problem since Benjamin Mendy's departure. Since then, the club has been improvising. Zinchenko, Delph, Gvardiol, and even Nico O'Reilly have been used out of position to cover this need. This time, the target is Milos Kerkez, a young left-back from Bournemouth, only 21 years old. The Hungarian impressed during the last season, including in direct confrontations against Manchester City, which caught the attention of the coaching staff and the club's scouting department. Kerkez is seen as the definitive solution to a long-standing problem. His defensive ability combined with speed and offensive contribution make him a strong candidate to permanently take over the left side of the defense. Negotiations are still in the early stages, but the expectation is that City will make a concrete offer in the coming days. The value? Around $45 million, a considerable but strategic investment, considering the chronic shortage in this area of the squad. It is worth remembering that Liverpool have also shown interest in the player, which could make the competition even fiercer. However, sources close to the club indicate that City are determined not to waste more time improvising. With Hugo Viana leading the negotiations, the hope is that the player will be convinced to opt for the Sky Blue project. Meanwhile, another saga that seemed lengthy has come to an end. Florian Wirtz is officially off City's plans. The young German, once touted as the ideal successor to De Bruyne, was dropped from consideration due to the high cost involved in the deal. As a result, the board's attention turned to another familiar figure, Ebereki Eze, a standout from Crystal Palace. Eze had already been monitored since last season. His ability on the ball, combined with ease in breaking down compact defenses, caught the eye of several clubs, including rivals Liverpool. But now, without Wirtz as a priority, City can finally advance for Eze. His release clause is 70 million, a high amount, but within an acceptable range compared to the German's case. Erling Haaland has even publicly expressed admiration for Eze, which could weigh in the club's decision. Having someone with such talent and chemistry with the Norwegian striker could be the difference in crucial games. Furthermore, the fact that Eze already plays in the Premier League is a favorable point. He would not need time to adapt, unlike many foreigners arriving in England. Internally, signing Eze is seen as a way to keep the offensive machinery running, even after losing a maestro like De Bruyne. It is certain City will lose an iconic name, but the future could be equally promising if the right pieces are put in place. These movements, Reinders, Cherki, Kerkez, and possibly Eze, demonstrate that Manchester City is not merely trying to fix flaws, but reinvent itself. Guardiola, despite recent frustrations, remains the mind behind it all, and the club still believes he can lead this new squad to glory once again. But will these changes be enough to return Manchester City to the top of the Premier League? Rivals are strengthening, pressure is mounting, and there is little time to adjust the team. The pre-season will be crucial. Until then, supporters wait hopefully for more announcements and, who knows, more surprises. While the backstage of Manchester City boils with negotiations and inquiries, the dressing room is beginning to feel the first effects of the impending transformation. Experienced players who until recently seemed untouchable now face a scenario of doubts and speculation. The imminent departure of Kevin De Bruyne is not merely a tactical change, it is a symbolic one. The Belgian has been for years the brain of the team, the silent leader who guided with pinpoint passes and decisive goals. His presence on the pitch was synonymous with constant danger for opponents. Off it, he was a point of reference for the youngsters and one of the pillars of the winning mentality built by Guardiola. His absence will leave a gap difficult to fill, not only technically but emotionally. For this reason, the new names arriving cannot be seen merely as replacements. They are the new identity of the club. Reinders, Cherki, and potentially Eze do not come to be De Bruyne, but to help shape a new era. And this demands not only adaptation, but acceptance of a new protagonism, new tactical ideas and dynamics on the field. Internally, Pep has already begun outlining how this new midfield might operate. Reinders would be the link with Rodri, forming a duet more fluid and technical than physical. Cherki, in turn, could be tested as a floating midfielder, able to transition between the lines and create numerical superiority, something Guardiola values. Eze, if he arrives, would bring the element of individual rupture with short dribbles and explosive bursts. However, there is a delicate point in this equation: Bernardo Silva. The Portuguese, a recurring target of European clubs in recent years, remains an unknown quantity. He has expressed on more than one occasion a desire to experience new challenges, but remains committed while wearing the sky blue shirt. His experience and tactical intelligence are irreplaceable, and with a possible new generation emerging, his role may be fundamental as a mentor and reference on the pitch. The same goes for names such as Gundogan, who, even at 34 years old, still offers consistency and game reading that few possess. Despite speculation about his future, the trend is that he will stay at least one more season, acting as a guide in the integration process of new signings. Guardiola knows that you do not build a new team with talented youngsters alone. Balance, ego management, and above all, continuity are needed. Therefore, the watchword at the moment is transition. This transition is also reflected in how the club is structuring its signings. It is not just about bringing in big names, but finding pieces that fit technically, financially, and psychologically. Hugo Viana, in this regard, has been a central figure. His arrival as football director marks a strategic shift, fewer expensive gambles, more intelligent moves. The case of Ryan Cherky is the perfect example of this new approach. A player with enormous potential, but who has yet to break onto the international scene. Therefore, he can be acquired at an affordable price and, more importantly, with room to grow. Confidence in his ability to adapt to City's style is such that some compare his potential impact to that of Mahrez upon his arrival. But City is not only looking at the present. The signing of young prospects such as Christian McFarlane, coming from New York City FC, shows the club's focus on the long term. Although McFarlane is still far from the main squad, the idea is to build a sustainable team with internal development and carefully chosen high-impact signings. Another name causing a stir among supporters is Milos Kerkez. The left-back position has been a puzzle for Guardiola, who has tested practically every option possible without finding a lasting solution. The arrival of the Hungarian is seen not just as reinforcement, but as an answer to a chronic need. Kerkez fits perfectly into the Catalan coach's playing model. Offensive, intense, with good defensive reading and the ability to participate in build-up from the first line. However, his signing will not be simple. Bournemouth know the value they hold and will demand around $45 million, which, although high, is still within the range considered acceptable by City. Besides Liverpool, other English clubs have inquired about the left back, but Guardiola's clear message that he wants a specialist for the position might be decisive. The internal discourse is that there's no more room for improvisation. The club wants a player who will take the position and turn it into a strength rather than a disguised weakness. And while the negotiations unfold, pre-season is beginning to take shape behind the scenes. The planning includes high-level friendlies and intense tactical integration training. Guardiola wants the new signings to adapt as quickly as possible, especially because the first league games often set the tone for the season. The expectation is that City will take to the pitch at the Community Shield already with a sketch of the new formation. If the signings are completed in time, supporters will be able to see for the first time a revamped team with new protagonists and a somewhat different style, still faithful to the philosophy of possession and control, but with nuances of renewal. This new phase will also be a test for Pep himself. After years of success and dominance, he will need to show he can still reinvent his teams and remain at the top. The shadow of last season, without significant titles, still lingers, and although he has ample credit, the pressure for results never ceases at a club like Manchester City. With De Bruyne on his way out, Wirtz ruled out, and the search for names like Reinders, Cherky, Eze, and Kerkez ongoing, City finds itself at a crossroads. Either it is reborn with a talented new generation, guided by experienced leaders, or it risks running out of steam against increasingly prepared opponents. The truth is that the club's future is being shaped now. Every choice, every negotiation, every decision on and off the pitch has the power to impact the coming years. And the faithful, passionate fans follow it all with the expectation that the next cycle will be as victorious as the last. But do these players being considered really have what it takes to bear the weight of the sky blue shirt? Is Reinders ready to be the new maestro? Will Cherky withstand the pressure? Will Eze be capable of carrying the responsibility of such a demanding creative sector? These answers will come with time. What is already clear is that Manchester City is not standing still. It is in motion, planning, negotiating, and restructuring, with eyes on both the present and the future. And this new chapter, just beginning to be written, could very well be the prelude to a new era of achievements. The squad overhaul is not happening solely with eyes on the Premier League. Deep down, Manchester City's true obsession remains the Champions League. Despite the title won in 2023, the early elimination in the last edition still echoes as an annoyance within the club. and Pep Guardiola is well aware of this. In recent interviews, he himself has emphasized the need to build a team capable of competing on all fronts, not just domestically, but also at the elite European level. It is in this context that the name Ebereki Esse gains momentum. The Crystal Palace midfielder, besides shining in the Premier League, has an ideal playing profile for continental competitions. He is explosive, creative, unpredictable, and above all, used to facing the most solid defenses in England, which is a differential when City confront more compact opponents in the Champions League. Guardiola already has a specific plan for Eze. He would be used flexibly, playing centrally when the team needs to break lines, but also starting from the left in more open games. The idea is to have him as a sort of offensive joker, someone who can adapt his role according to the opponent. This, combined with his skill in set pieces and shots from outside the box, makes him one of the most strategic targets of the transfer window. At the same time, the club is working to adjust the movements of the defensive sector. The arrival of a natural left-back, like Kerkez, would give the team a new dynamic. Guardiola could return to experimenting with a 3-center-back system with inverted fullbacks, something he has successfully tested at specific moments in recent seasons. And with Rodri as a pillar, accompanied by Reinders, City gains more territorial control, something that has always been vital to their style of play. In the attacking sector, Haaland remains untouchable, but there is growing concern about the depth of the attacking squad. With Mahrez out since last year and Foden being increasingly relied upon, the club is considering bringing in another versatile forward. Although there is no concrete name at this moment, it is known that Hugo Viana has been monitoring alternative markets, including South American ones, in search of emerging talents who can quickly adapt to the European style. The idea is that the 2025-26 squad will be the most balanced in recent times. The presence of youngsters like Oscar Bob and Rico Lewis has already shown that the foundation can offer reliable solutions. However, Guardiola wants to avoid dependence. He needs mature options, with experience, capable of deciding big matches. Hence the focus on Cherki and Eze. 2 young players, yes, but already experienced in demanding leagues. Behind the scenes, Hugo Viana's work has been quiet but efficient. Unlike other more media-friendly sporting directors, he operates away from the spotlight but with great influence. His relationship with Portuguese and French clubs has facilitated some negotiations, and City is already seeing the fruits of this more discreet approach. The direct connection with agents and smaller clubs allows the club to anticipate moves, avoiding bidding wars and reducing costs. Meanwhile, the preseason is taking on more defined contours. A tour of Asia is planned, with matches in Japan and Thailand, where the club has a huge fan base. It will be a golden opportunity to test the new signings and, at the same time, work on the commercial side. The globalization of the Manchester City brand is also an essential part of this new phase. The club wants to be at the top both sportingly and commercially. This concern with strengthening the international image is so intense that the marketing department is already working on campaigns with the new recruits. The expectation is that Reinders and Cherki will become not only key players on the pitch, but also recognized faces off it. The same goes for Eze, should the deal materialize. Another important point is the management of the dressing room. Guardiola, experienced in dealing with large squads, knows that the season's success depends on internal harmony. He has held individual meetings with key players, discussing their roles in the new cycle. Bernardo Silva, for example, was approached directly by Pep to talk about his future and role as a technical leader. Meanwhile, Gundogan, despite being at the end of his contract, received a short renewal offer, with a role similar to what Fernandinho had in recent years: fewer minutes on the pitch, more influence off it. These decisions show that City is not signing players just for the sake of signing. There is a clear plan for continuity, with experienced figures helping in the transition of the youngsters. The same applies to the coaching staff, which remains intact, with Lillo, Rodolfo Borrell, and other long-serving assistants. Consistency on the bench is seen as a strength, especially amid so many changes in the squad. At the center of it all is Guardiola, Despite rumors about his future, he remains 100% committed to the project. His goal is clear: to build an even more complete team, capable of winning the Premier League and Champions League again and competing on equal terms in the Club World Cup, now in its new format. The manager has shown enthusiasm about the prospect of working with players like Reinders and Cherki. He sees them as raw diamonds, ready to be polished, and his track record shows few can do this as well as he can. It was like this with De Bruyne, Sané, Sterling, and more recently with Foden and Gvardiol. But no name carries as much expectation as Cherki's. Behind the low transfer fee lies a big gamble, that he could be City's next great star. His numbers do not lie. He is one of the most creative youngsters in Europe. His average key passes, game reading, and improvisation ability recall established players. Guardiola is already devising a specific development plan for him, which includes physical strengthening, tactical reading, and improved decision-making. Meanwhile, the fans watch everything with a mix of anxiety and excitement. After all, it is not every day one sees such a profound overhaul at a club that was already at the top. Most rivals try to maintain their best players, while City, even as champions, seeks to improve further. This ongoing ambition is what separates the great from the historic. The pieces are starting to fall into place. The idea is clear, the squad is being shaped, and the coming months will be crucial. What is at stake is not just the next season, it is the legacy of an era. And this new chapter promises strong emotions. So, Manchester City supporter, what do you think of these moves? Is City assembling the perfect squad to dominate England again and shine in Europe once more? We really want to know your opinion. Don't forget to comment below so we can chat. If you enjoyed this content and want to stay up to date with all the Manchester City news, you know what to do. Leave a like to help the channel grow, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any videos. Turn on the notification bell to get alerts first and keep up with everything happening in the world of the citizens. Thanks for watching all the way through. Big hugs, and see you next time.